Can Jurgen Klopp save Germany? That's a question every German football fan is asking after one of the darkest periods in the nation's history. A team that once set the standard for world football has become a shadow of itself, crashing out of major tournaments and losing the identity that made it feared across the globe. But here's a real question. Is Germany's decline really about the manager, or has the problem become so deeply rooted that even one of football's greatest coaches can't fix it? Because this isn't just another managerial appointment, it's a gamble that could redefine an entire football nation, or leave Klopp with the first truly irreversible failure of his career. So, to understand whether Klopp can save Germany, you have to first understand what he's trying to save. Germany isn't a country searching for another trophy. This is a footballing empire searching for itself. For decades, Germany represented everything the modern game admired: discipline, persistence, and mentality. No matter the generation, you expected them to be there when the biggest moments arrived. But somehow along the way, that Germany disappeared. First in the 2018 World Cup, losing to Mexico and Japan. Then somehow, it happened again in 2022, losing 2-1 to Japan again, failing to make it out of the group. What was looked impossible suddenly became a pattern. Germany weren't just losing football matches, they were losing their identity. Every tournament seemed to strip away another piece of aura they had made. Confidence turned into hesitation, authority became uncertainty, and opponents stopped fearing the badge, because Germany themselves no longer looked like they believed in it. And at the 2026 World Cup, the moment that convinced an entire nation something had broken, a penalty shootout defeat to Paraguay in a round of 32. Not against one of football's traditional superpowers, but against a team Germany would once have expected to beat. For the first time in generations, Germany weren't just underperforming, they have looked ordinary. And when a country built on winning begins accepting mediocrity, everything changes. That's when the search for another manager ended and the search for a savior began. But there was just one problem. The man who seemed perfect for the job had already walked away from football. After leaving Liverpool, Klopp insisted he was finished with management. Some of football's biggest jobs came calling: England, the United States, Manchester United and Chelsea. Every offer promised another chance to compete for the biggest trophies, but every offer received the same answer. Instead, Klopp took on an entirely different challenge, becoming Red Bull's head of global soccer rather than standing on the touchline every weekend. He would oversee football operations from behind the scenes, which looked like the perfect next chapter for him. For everyone watching, Jurgen Klopp's coaching career was over. But while Klopp was building football from the boardroom, Germany's crisis only deepened. Every disappointing result led to the same debate. Every tournament exit brought back the same question: if not Klopp, then who? Because if the man who had rejected some of the biggest jobs in world football wouldn't come back, who possibly could? Germany weren't just searching for another respected coach, they were searching for someone who could transform what already existed. And that's what Klopp does better than almost anyone. Look at Mohamed Salah. Before Liverpool, he was remembered in England as the winger who couldn't make it at Chelsea. But Klopp saw something different. He shaped Salah's finishing, gave him freedom, and perhaps most importantly, gave him belief. The result: a discarded Chelsea winger became a relentless goal machine and one of the finest players on the planet. But Klopp's greatest transformation wasn't just one player, it was an entire club. When he arrived at Liverpool, they were a sleeping giant, famous, historic, but trapped in their own memories. Klopp changed their football fast. He introduced Jurgen pressing, relentless intensity, and attacks launched at full speed. His heavy metal football didn't simply entertain people, it gave Liverpool an identity again. Anfield became suffocating, Liverpool became feared, and eventually the trophies followed. The Champions League in 2019, then the Premier League title that had escaped him for 30 years. Klopp had taken a lost club and restored its soul. And now, Germany is suffering from the same exact disease. The talent isn't completely gone, but the identity is. So perhaps the real question isn't why Germany won Klopp, it's whether the greatest transformer in football can awaken one more sleeping giant. Germany aren't starting from scratch, because beneath the scars of the last decade is one of the most exciting young squads in Europe. Florian Wirtz and Jamal Musiala are the centerpieces, two creators capable of turning a game in a single moment exactly the kind of players Klopp's fast vertical football is built around. Behind them comes another wave. Alexander Pavlovich brings control in midfield. Nick Voltemada offers a new focal point in attack, and exciting prospects like Ronaldo Carl, Asanou Drago, Jamie Lowling, Maximilian Baer, and Angelo Stiller, giving Germany something they haven't had for years: depth with enormous potential. Then the experience of Joshua Kimmich and Antonio Rudiger remain the spine of the team. The leaders expected to guide this new generation through the pressure that comes with wearing the German shirt. In other words, Klopp isn't just taking over a finished masterpiece, he's inheriting exactly what he loves most. Though this was never meant to be a quick fix, Germany aren't trying to win overnight, they're trying to build something that lasts. The first checkpoint is Euro 2028, not necessarily to lift the trophy, but to prove that Germany has its identity back, to show that Klopp's football can survive under the pressure of a big tournament. The real destination is the 2030 World Cup. By then, Vats, Musiala, Pavlovich, Voltemada, and the rest of this young generation will be entering the best years of their careers. 4 more years of growth, 4 more years to be shaped by Klopp's ideas, his intensity, and belief. The objective isn't simply to become a better team, it's to turn a so fragile side back into one the rest of the world fears. Because if everything goes to plan, 2030 won't just be another World Cup, it will be Germany's chance to become Germany again. But that's where the biggest risk begins. Because rebuilding Germany won't be as simple as rebuilding Liverpool. Klopp's greatest strength has always been time. Time on the training ground, time to shape players and build a culture. With the national team, he gets almost none of it, which means every international break becomes a test. Every result is judged by a nation that's already waited far too long for his return to the top. And that's what makes his biggest gamble yet. Klopp has never been sacked, not at Mainz, Dortmund or Liverpool. Now he's risking that reputation on a team that's forgotten how to win. Though the remarkable thing is, Jurgen Klopp never needed this job. He had already achieved everything a manager could dream of. He could have stayed comfortably behind the scenes at Red Bull and protected the legacy he had spent decades building. Instead, he chose the hardest challenge of them all, not for money, not for trophies, but because Germany was calling in its darkest hour. Now only time will tell if he can rebuild a fallen giant, or if this will become the one challenge even Jurgen Klopp can't overcome. So what do you think? Can Klopp make Germany scary again?